There's a scene in season 4 of Succession, episode 2, aired a couple of weeks ago, where the main character, the dad, the media baron, is addressing his children. And I feel like we need to get this clip and just keep it on constant refrain because I heard it and I was like, this is so amazing. And the main character, the media baron, who is a Rupert Murdoch-like figure, says to his children, I love you, but you are not serious people.
I love you, but you are not serious people.
And I thought it was such a perfect line. And I know there are a lot of parents and grandparents out there that are like, oh my goodness, they just distilled my entire life. I love you, but you are not serious people. And I feel like many left-wing arguments, when it really boils down, they're all cosmetic theater. They don't really have substance behind them because at their essence, they're rooted in emotion, and emotion is, frankly, the enemy of logic. And so, I love you, but you are not serious people is such an amazing line, and it was in season 4, Succession, episode 2. I thought about that. There's been a big controversy, right? We still don't have, let's start here, we still don't have the trans shooters manifesto in Nashville. It has now been 15 days. And the left wing has been adroit. They've been skilled. They've been incredibly well trained. And they have turned, in Nashville, my hometown, they have managed to turn this crazy trans shooter into a Republicans are racist argument. That's what they've pivoted from. We still don't have the trans shooter manifesto. Kamala Harris can travel to Nashville, won't meet with the victims of the shooting because they don't want to reinforce that this was a crazy trans shooter. Instead, Kamala Harris comes here and they try to say, oh, all Tennessee Republicans are racist, right? That's the argument. Now, to be fair, Tennessee Republicans did screw this thing up when they didn't vote the crazy white chick out, too. They just voted the 2 black guys out, and the crazy white chick survived by 1 vote.
Can we just also add to that she begged them not to expel her, and then the moment she got her wish, she turned around and said, you who failed to expel me did so because you are racist.
Yes.
Just so that is in microcosm what it is to deal with a lib politician in America today. Please, please, I beg you, I want to keep my job. Fine, you weren't quite as egregious as the others. You're letting me keep my job out of racism, sir. That is what they did.
And if you fell for it, you're an imbecile, frankly. If you were if you wanted to say, hey, on principle, I don't think we should be voting anybody out in the Tennessee legislature. I don't think this makes sense. I'm going to vote against all 3. Okay, I can see that argument. Because you kind of turned them into martyrs, you can see that argument. But if you tried to split the baby and you're like, I'm going to toss the 2 black dudes out, but I'm going to keep the white chick who begged for forgiveness and then immediately went outside, had those crocodile tears, and then as soon as she survived and wasn't kicked to the curb, she immediately said, oh, it's racism. That's why I didn't get kicked to the curb. You got played. You played yourself. And speaking of playing yourself, this is one of the 2 expelled members of the Tennessee Democrat Party. I believe we have this audio all queued up and ready to go, right? So he went to Bowdoin, which is a super elite, what does Bowdoin cost? Probably $75,000 a year, Buck. I mean, probably tuition, something like that.
Yeah.
It is one of the
same
richest
conference as my school, Amherst. Not as good as Amherst, but it's pretty good.
So in Maine, it is one of the richest, whitest schools historically on the East Coast. This guy went to that school, all right? And he didn't just go to that school. He ran for student body president. And guys, I'm going to ask you to stop it if we can. Right at the end of this is the same guy that was expelled that now is trying to pretend like he's Malcolm X or Martin Luther King Jr. Here he is in 2016 running for student body president of this elite, super white, liberal, rich kid school in Maine. Listen.
Justin J. Pearson, and I'm running for president of BSG. There are a few reasons that we're running this campaign this year. One has to do with representation. How can we represent all voices in a conversation? I wanted to do this by partnering with organizations from the Bowdoin Democrats to the Bowdoin Republicans. I want to bring together different voices, dissenting voices, voices that may be more liberal or more conservative, in order that we can reach a point of sort of the radical middle.
Okay, pause. Great job there, guys. That is his campaign message. Bowden, however you pronounce it.
Bowdoin.
All right, Bowdoin. He wanted to be the student body president. You need to watch the video. That is 2016. Here is this past weekend in a Nashville church. He now has a monster afro. Same dude. Listen.
Seemed like the NRA and gun lobbyists might win. But oh, that was good news for us. I don't know how long this Saturday in the state of Tennessee might last. But oh, we have good news, folks. We've got good news that Sunday always comes.
All right, now can we just? I want to put them now back to back. Now you heard them separated. This is the same dude again, separated by 7 years, running for student body president at his super white school in Maine that costs $75,000 a year. Talking about how he wants to bring everybody together, and then it's suddenly like record scratch 1965, and he's Martin Luther King Jr. Listen to the whole thing.
Justin J. Pearson, and I'm running for president of BSG. There are a few reasons that we're running this campaign this year. One has to do with representation. How can we represent all voices in a conversation? I wanted to do this by partnering with organizations from the Bowdoin Democrats to the Bowdoin Republicans. I want to bring together different voices, dissenting voices, voices that may be more liberal or more conservative, in order that we can reach a point of sort of the radical middle. Seemed like the NRA and gun lobbyists might win. But oh, that was good news for us. I don't know how long this Saturday in the state of Tennessee might last. But oh, we have good news, folks. We've got good news that Sunday always comes.
This reminds me, Buck, of, you remember the movie 8 Mile when Eminem's going up against the other elite rapper, and Eminem just takes all, he's a poor white kid, literally 8 Mile, and he points out that Clarence, if I remember correctly was his name, went to Cranbrook, which is the most exclusive and expensive private school in the Detroit area for anybody listening to us who grew up in the Detroit area. And he just says Clarence went to Cranbrook, and everybody just loses it because the guy is a total poser, right?
I know something about you. You went to Cranbrook. That's a private school. What's the matter, dog? You in Paris? This guy's a gangster. His real name is Clarence.
And I wish we could curse sometimes, he's full of crap. He is pretending to be, like a cosplay, a really bad actor that is trying to pretend like it's 1960s in Tennessee.
I mean, I get nervous if I say y'all, that people are going to think that I'm appropriating, but it is such a good contraction.
My wife was super nervous because she's from Michigan. She's been in Tennessee for 20 years, and I remember having a conversation with her, when can I use the word y'all and not sound like I'm a faker, right? Like not sound like I'm a pretender.
Real thing. Everybody, y'all is the best way to say what you're trying to say. Period.
It's better than you guys.
Efficient.
It's better than you all. Yes.
You guys is a very. I think it's definitely northeastern,
Midwest,
Mid-Atlantic,
Midwest,
and Midwestern.
You guys.
Yeah, you guys. But we say you guys in New York. Y'all makes a lot more sense. Or if you're really a New Yorker, Manhattanite, you might say all of you. But all of you is quite a mouthful. So.
I think we've got another great clip here, too, Buck, because I always love seeing this, too. And I bet a lot of you are also having this reflection. Here is Hillary Clinton, who suddenly, this is one of the all-time great, I'm going to totally sound different depending on what audience I'm talking to. 2007, here's Hillary Clinton from the Chicago area pretending that she's Southern. Listen.
I don't feel no ways tired. I come too far from where I started from. Nobody told me that the road would be easy. I don't believe he brought me this far to leave me.
I think we may have just violated the Geneva Convention by playing that on the air, because I think we actually used to use tapes of Hillary to torture prisoners to get information back in the day. That was brutal.
This is what Southerners know well really bad Southern accents because you're trying to pretend that you talk like us, right? I'm born and raised in Nashville. I've been around. Movies are filled with people with bad Southern accents. We'll talk about it, as Southerners, like you watch them. There's two things that always happen. One, there's a lot of really bad Southern accents. Two, every time there's a movie set in the South, everybody's sweating. It's really, if you go back and watch like A Time to Kill, it's as if air conditioning doesn't exist in Mississippi. Like every time they're talking, they're covered in sweat.
I've never seen someone chewing on the long, like, almost looks like a piece of wheat or something. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, straw. Yeah.
Yeah, they do this in movies all the time. I've never actually seen this anywhere.
You know who was really good at that, by the way? Fred Thompson, rest in peace, was former Tennessee senator, also an actor. But other politicians used to complain because his whole campaign was, I'm just going to get in a red pickup truck and drive around the state. And he was a legitimate elite actor, but all of his commercials, he was phenomenal. Like, I can't act. People are like, oh, if you watch, we used to do skits for the sports gambling TV show that I would do. If you give me lines to recite, I am the worst actor on the planet. Like, they would all make fun of me because we'd have a script and I'd have to memorize lines and I couldn't do it. If you just tell me extemporaneously, hey, just go act normal, I can do it. I'm fine on TV. But if you tell me you have to deliver this, I can't do it at all. A lot of these dudes are actors, right? I mean, that's embarrassing. If you're represented by that guy, I mean, that is pretty pathetic. And if Saturday Night Live was actually funny or made fun of left-wingers, this would be a gold mine.
I mean, look, there are a lot of people on the Democrat side have gotten away with very obvious pandering and acts of you could call it personal fraudulence, right? I mean, pretending to be something that they're not. We all remember, John Kerry famously all of a sudden is, hey, I love shooting at the ducks that go quack quack, and we had the butler gave me this wonderful shotgun to use. I borrowed it from him. I mean, he was the least man of the people you could ever see. And I think one of the things, honestly, not to make this a Trump conversation, one of the things about Trump that people found so appealing is he's like, yeah, I'm a billionaire and I like cheeseburgers, and that's really, McDonald's cheeseburgers, and that's really who I am. And I do think that increasingly authenticity is an asset,
the most important trait. I think it's the most important trait. There are a lot of
frauds. There are a lot of frauds who get very, very far in politics to this day. Even Tucker's done a lot of talk on his show about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez was Sandy Cortez, and then realized and went to BU, which was at one point the most expensive school in America.
It's up there with GW, where I went. Yeah,
right up there with GW. And then all of a sudden we're being told that she's from the Bronx.
I'm proud to be a bartender. Ain't nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with working retail, folding clothes for other people to buy. There is nothing wrong with preparing the food that your neighbors will eat.
No, I mean, she, grew up in a household with working professionals who sent her to a $70,000 a year university in, I think it was Riverdale, which is actually it's a fancy part of New York, but it is in the Bronx. So there's this interesting, I think Tucker says she's from Westchester. Anyway, but you see a lot of that. A lot of people changing around their identity in a way that is more suitable politically for them because it makes them seem like they're it's false populism is really what it makes them seem like, I'm Clinton, just like you.
That Hillary Clinton clip is one of the funniest things that I've heard. I mean, look, this little Tennessee rep, whatever his name is, I don't even know his name. That's funny, but Hillary Clinton was legitimately convinced that she was going to be the first woman president of the United States, and that is the most insulting. Like, first of all, it's a bad Southern accent. She has a bad Southern accent, and then she tries to speak in, like, Southern black vernacular, which is even more awkward and ridiculous. I would just have run. I mean, I feel like if you just ran that clip anywhere in the South, like, she would not win a single Southern state because you can't look any more inauthentic. And that dude, I mean, it's pathetic. And it also raises the question, why, and this is a good one for all of you out there, why do so many Democrats want to pretend it's still 1954 or 1965? Like, why are they want the mantle of the civil rights movement when you've got all the rights you could possibly need.
Because their mindset is that they don't have to engage with the other side or deal with even facts or reality because they stand in a position of moral righteousness from the start that is both unassailable and unquestionable. And so that's why they love the 1960s civil rights positioning in 2023, because it's how dare you? We're the ones that are saving the country. And we sit around saying, I don't know. Pretty sure transgender surgery for 10-year-olds is not actually saving anything, and it's pretty horrible.
And I don't think MLK would have been like, hey, you know what, I really hope that one day we can live in an America where 14-year-olds chop their boobs off. I don't think that would have been the next step of the MLK progression. Just throwing it out there.